So I actually recorded this video quite a while ago, like the gameplay, but I guess I forgot to upload it. And I guess in kind of a weird way, that tells you my take on Nioh 3. I like Nioh 1 because it was so unique and original. And in a similar way, I like Nioh 2 because, it's kind of more of the same. When you get into a third iteration of a game, by this point, you kind of have locked in what the mechanics are. You think back to some of the major storybook games that we've played, like Uncharted, and you get to like the end of Uncharted 4. It really was just Uncharted 1 with a little bit more depth to the story, slightly new mechanics, but for the most part, largely the same. Nioh suffers from that, or embraces that, I guess, depending on what side of the camp you're on. The problem is Nioh has always been a very light on story, heavy on action game, which I appreciate. This is not a Dark Souls game where you need to watch 500 hours of YouTube videos to figure out what the heck's going on. There's not really multiple paths. There's not any major decision points. It's very cookie cutter. Go to foreign land, kill thing, collect item, go to next foreign land. And that has been the formula for all the levels in Nioh 1 and all the levels in Nioh 2. Nioh 3 does the same thing. It's not really a big difference there. The big push, though, the thing that is really trying to differentiate this game from other games is the new ninja style. And I immediately was like, okay, I'm watching the gameplay trailer. They did one of those, and the beta's available right now, right? So, I jumped on, I'm checking it out, thinking about it, right? And trying to figure out, is this something I'm interested in? And like I said, it didn't really move the needle for me. The ninja style, which advertised in the trailer would radically change gameplay, isn't really an invention of stealth the way it was kind of advertised. This isn't like an Assassin's Creed game where you can just run in guns blazing or take the stealthy approach and kind of sneak your way through the bushes and pull off basically like executions. And honestly, to me, the trailer was misleading because I thought that's kind of where it was going. To me, that would be a revolutionary, radical change to Nioh, where you have that stealth, and then when it hits the fan, you have that jarring, violent, really silky smooth combat and gameplay that we expect. But not really. Ninja is just a quick toggle to another set of skills, another set of abilities, and a limitation on some of those and an enhancement on some of those. They already had the stance system in the game. The stance system makes its triumphant return, so you can toggle between the various stances that you want. But now you can press a button and obliterate all of what they call the samurai style and go directly into this ninja style, which changes the move set. Although I gotta say, I feel like ninja is just samurai, but faster. It doesn't really feel like it's as in-depth and thought out as well as the previous style was. And if you think back to the old Nioh games, if you played Nioh 1 or Nioh 2, when you were able to change between weapons and stances rapidly, you had a very, very heavy offensive arsenal. It was very easy to go ranged or to go more up close and personal, toggling depending on your favorite, most powerful weapon at the time. And the combat felt very fluid. While you do feel fluid when you switch between samurai style to ninja style, the moveset itself is kind of lacking. And maybe just because this was like an alpha and they didn't want to unlock everything, it was going to take time to wind it up. But I didn't really feel that way. I felt like ninja style was just a subset, and I wish that I feel like I lost something even though I gained something. Going back to the older games, having two weapons, being able to switch between the two weapons and the two stances, the four stances, opened up theoretically 8 different ways to play, right? Here, because the dedicated button has changed now from the weapon switching to your stance switching, you're limited to one weapon for ninja style and one weapon for samurai style. And what that does is really limits how you play. If you want to have a light weapon and you want to say, hey, my ninja build is going to be my light weapon and my samurai is going to be my heavy, like samurai sword or like the big heavy weapons like axes, that kind of thing. Well, that's kind of how you're going to have to play, like what I'm doing here. If I want to just quickly toggle into a lighter stance or lighter weapon to hit this guy, I just got to straight up switch my stance out. And I don't really like that. I understand what the philosophy was here, and I get you don't want to get into the menu nesting of where you have like, wait, I have this stance on this, and it does get overwhelming, or it could get overwhelming, especially when you introduce a whole new kit. So you're dressed up in heavy armor, you got your big heavy sword, you press a button, now you're in your light armor with your light sword, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, but it limits how you play. And if you haven't played the other two Niohs, maybe you don't really know what I'm really talking about here. And honestly, this game probably wouldn't be for you anyway. I don't think that people who haven't played Nioh 1 or Nioh 2 are going to dive into this. I think the purists, which I am not, by the way, are probably going to recommend the older games based on kind of what I've seen so far in this alpha. I don't really see a lot moving the needle here that hasn't already been done better before. You have the character creator, you have a very kind of light story that just dives into the action. You have the loot porn where when you kill an enemy, they explode like a piñata and drop 10,000 pieces of gear. You have the same looping things. You have the same key recovery, the same type of ninjutsu, the same type of armor, the same type of movement, the same type of summoning mechanics. Slight difference in the summoning mechanics, but similar. You have the same kind of transform skills and guardian skills and artifacts and enemies, all very, very similar to what we've seen before. The difference now is I feel like your toolkit is just a little less than it was before. So I think for me, what they need to do to convince me that I need to get Nioh 3 is I think there needs to be some significant balance updates made in the game. There needs to be a reason for us to want to kind of handcuff our kit to a single class. And I think then maybe I'd be more interested. I had hoped that based on the trailer, which was very misleading, stealth would play a larger part in this, the ability to sneak through shadows. And I was hoping maybe like the level design was a little bit more lined up to that, where you could like isolate enemies and pick them apart one at a time. It's not really that way. It's the same kind of walk through a linear path, then open up into a larger area, have to run around, kill all the enemies, most likely triggering all of them at the same time. So the whole map is running you down. Kind of find a natural choke point to fight your way out and move on. But I didn't feel like the trailer did a good representation of that. And maybe that's what left a sour taste in my mouth playing it as well. Hyping myself up for like, oh wow, like other game companies are trying to emulate that Assassin's Creed Ghost of Yotai formula in their own way. I didn't expect this to be an overly pure stealth game, but it just kind of like says, hey, there's stealth in this, pick the ninja class, and then it's not really that way. So it's a pass for me for now, but I wanted to be fair and put the video out and talk about it. I think if you did like the old Nioh games, you may come to like this one. For me, it just didn't give me that warm, fuzzy feeling that the first two did. So I'll be looking elsewhere. But look, honestly, 2025 is absolutely stacked. This video is being recorded after the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out. So I got a whole slew of Nintendo Switch 2 games to go play and all the backward compatibility. Monster Hunter's getting ready to drop Title Update 2. There's tons and tons of games out there that you may enjoy. So don't feel like if this isn't the one for you, it's like, it's okay, right? There's other things. And maybe this is a good discount game. Maybe like I get that Nioh itch in a year or two and I could pick it up on a PlayStation discount, maybe like $20 or something. And then maybe I wouldn't feel as bad of feeling like I lost something. But as it stands right now, paying full price for a game when I feel offensively less of a badass than when I first started, for me, is just a tough sell. Hope you guys found this video interesting and informative. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.